Welcome to Appliance Repair Academy. In this lesson, we replace the water inlet valve on a Whirlpool side-by-side refrigerator, model WRS588FIHZ, using OEM part W10498992. Every make and model varies, so you may see small differences on your unit. Always verify with the model-specific tech sheet.
Safety first. If the refrigerator is corded, unplug it from the wall outlet. If it is hardwired, perform OSHA lockout-tagout at the breaker. Close the cold water supply shutoff before you disconnect any line. Gather your tools: a digital multimeter, 1/4-inch nut driver, a No. 2 Phillips screwdriver, channel lock pliers, a flashlight, a magnetic parts tray, and a towel with a small bucket for residual water.
Common symptoms of a failed water inlet valve include no water at the dispenser, no ice production, very slow fill, a knocking or buzzing sound when the ice maker calls for water, or a small puddle of water at the rear of the cabinet. Many of these point straight to the dual solenoid valve mounted at the back of the appliance.
Locate the cold water shutoff that serves the refrigerator. It is usually a saddle valve or a quarter-turn ball valve under the kitchen sink, or sometimes behind the unit itself. Turn the handle fully clockwise to close. Then press the water dispenser paddle briefly to bleed off the line pressure before you touch any fitting. With the water off, disconnect electrical power. Pull the plug straight from the wall outlet. Do not just rely on the dispenser switch or the freezer control. If the unit is hardwired, lock out and tag out the breaker now in accordance with OSHA 29 CFR 1910.147.
Walk the refrigerator out from the wall by alternating sides. Never drag it sideways. Give yourself at least 18 inches of clearance to work behind the unit. Watch the water line at the back so you do not kink or pull the copper tubing. If you have hardwood or tile, slip cardboard or felt pads under the rollers to protect the floor.
At the lower rear of the cabinet, you will see a sheet metal access panel covering the compressor and the water valve. Using your 1/4-inch nut driver, remove the hex head screws around the perimeter of this panel. Drop each screw into your magnetic parts tray so nothing rolls under the unit, then lift the panel away and set it aside.
You are looking for the dual solenoid valve mounted on a bracket near the inlet fitting at the back of the cabinet. It has one inlet on the supply side, 2 outlet ports on the appliance side, and 2 electrical connectors riding on top. One solenoid feeds the ice maker up in the freezer, and the other feeds the door water dispenser.
Before you disconnect anything, take a clear photo of the harness routing and the 2 outlet line positions. This photo is your reference for reassembly, and it prevents you from swapping the ice maker line and the dispenser line on the new valve, which would send water to the wrong place. Position your towel and a small bucket under the valve to catch any residual water. Using your channel lock pliers, hold the brass valve body steady. With the second wrench, loosen the compression nut on the inlet supply line counterclockwise. Once it breaks free, finish the last threads by hand and let any water drain into the bucket. The outlet ports use push-to-connect quick fittings. Press the gray collar squarely toward the valve body using your fingernail or a small flat blade screwdriver, then pull the plastic tubing straight out. Do not twist it. Repeat for the second outlet line. Label the lines ice maker and dispenser as you remove them so reassembly is foolproof. Press the small locking tab on each electrical connector and pull straight off the solenoid spade terminals. Never yank the wires themselves. The 2 connectors are not always interchangeable, so verify against the photo you took earlier before lifting them clear. The valve bracket is held to the cabinet with 2 1/4-inch hex head screws. Support the valve body with one hand so it does not drop when the second screw comes out. Then back the screws out with your nut driver.
Set the old valve on your work surface for bench testing.
Set your digital multimeter to ohms. Touch one probe to each spade terminal of the first solenoid coil. A healthy coil reads between 100 and 500 ohms. Repeat the test on the second solenoid. OL means the coil is open and 0 means it is shorted. Both are failures. If either coil is out of range, the valve is no good and must be replaced.
Align the new valve to the cabinet bracket with the brass inlet port facing the copper supply line. Start both mounting screws by hand to avoid cross-threading the sheet metal. Then tighten them with the nut driver until the bracket sits firmly against the cabinet. Snug, not gorilla tight.
Reconnect the two electrical connectors to their matching solenoids, ice maker and dispenser, exactly as you labeled them. You should hear or feel a small click as each locking tab seats fully. Give a light tug to verify the connector will not back off. Push each labeled outlet tube straight into its quick connect port until you feel it bottom out, usually about 3/4 of an inch of insertion. Tug back gently on the tube. The collet should grip and hold the line firmly. Reinstall any plastic line retainer clips that were on the original valve. Here is a pro tip for stubborn quick connect fittings. If a gray collar will not release a line, you can cut the hose with sharp tubing snips to free it. Never force the fitting open, or you risk cracking the valve body. Before you cut, check the line length and leave enough slack so the tubing can be pushed back in 3/4 of an inch when you reconnect. A cut that is too short cannot reseat in the collet. Always carry extra 1/4 inch water tubing in your van stock so you can replace any line you had to cut.
Thread the supply line compression nut onto the new valve by hand for several turns to avoid cross-threading. Once it spins down freely, snug it with your channel locks while holding the valve body steady with a backup wrench. About 1/4 turn past hand tight is enough. Over-tightening can crack the brass inlet.
Position the rear access panel back over the cabinet opening. Align every screw hole and reinstall each one of the hex head screws you took out. A missing screw at the back is the most common cause of a panel rattle when the compressor cycles, so do not skip any.
Walk the refrigerator back toward the wall, leaving 2 to 3 inches of breathing space at the back for condenser airflow. Plug the cord back in or restore power at the breaker. Slowly open the cold water shutoff to repressurize the line and watch the new valve for any drips while pressure builds.
Dispense water into a glass. You should hear the valve click open and water should flow steadily within a few seconds. Allow up to 24 hours for the ice maker to drop its first batch of cubes. For references, consult the Whirlpool WRS588FIHZ Use and Care Guide and Tech Sheet on the manufacturer's support site. OSHA 29 CFR 1910.147 for lockout-tagout, and NFPA 70E for electrical safety. Every make and model varies. Always verify with the model-specific service documentation. Thanks for training with Appliance Repair Academy.